Hello? Hey, what's up? I need your help. Could you come over here? I can't. I'm buying bones. Alright, well, hurry up and get over here. I can't find him. What do you mean you can't find him? I can't find him. There's only oil. Hello? Hello? Meh. Back to shopping. Whoa, here we are, back to rigging. Yay! I'm in so much pain right now, help. Hello, and welcome to, not really sure which playlist to put this into. Whatever, in today's video, I'm going to be updating my Murder Drones rig for the 100th time. What I want to improve are the face controls and just overall make it look a little bit better. I'm also going to be adding IK/FK switches for each individual limb instead of the whole rig. First, I'm going to get rid of all these big panels at the side of the head. These currently use custom properties and you have to click on each one of these bones to access them, which is annoying. I'm still going to be using custom properties, but I'm also going to use drivers to make a slider. Back when I first started making this rig, I saw this cool Sin model from Galax Productions that used a slider to swap out the different eye icons, and I was like, whoa, how the heck did they make that? I never could figure it out though, and Google wasn't much help either. Okay, I wrote this part outside. I somehow wrote Google wants much help. Do they need help? But recently, I discovered that you can add Python if statements in drivers, and my mind was blown. So, using some fancy Python code, I managed to make this bone into a slider. Each of the different eye icons have their visibility being driven by the value of this custom property, and then this code here makes it so that their visibility is set to 0 unless the value is correct. It works great and it's very fun to drag around. I then proceeded to do the same with the visor icons like the big X and the text. Speaking of visor icons, I also added a new one which allows you to display an image on the face. You just have to go into the shader editor and import whatever image you want. I've also added some limit location constraints to the slider so you can't pull them out of the box. Next, I wanted to update the mouth rig again. The first one was crap, the second one was slightly less crap, but I still think it's crap. This time, I'm taking inspiration from this other Murder Drones creator, Lukasz, who made this really high quality rig. Link in the description if you want to check it out. On that rig, the mouth has these master controllers which control these other bones. When you move these controllers, there's this fall off effect which I'll be trying to recreate. Now, how do I do this? Alright, so, when you move these controller bones, all of these other bones follow. I guess I could try using constraints. This part was quite painful and I kept going back and forth. First I used the copy transforms constraint, then I used the child of constraint, and then I went back to copy transforms constraint. I'm just going to read you some of my notes of when I was still testing. Got idea for mouth rig from Lukasz. No idea if this will work though, but we'll see. Made cool mouth rig test with copy transforms constraints on bones. A middle bone controls the upper bones at the sides of the side bone constraints Important! On constraint, target space set to local space with owner orientation and owner space to local. Struggling with mouth rig, God please help. Ah, God has answered my prayers. Never give up, guys. Never gonna give you up. Messed around with constraints some more and I think it works fine-ish. Honestly wondering if I should have just used Rigify. Okay, copy transforms works! Eventually, I made up my mind and stuck with copy transforms. By changing the influence value of each constraint, I can make this fall off. It feels a bit heavy to drag around, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Next, I added some extra control cubes which will move the corners of the mouth. Now it's time to make some action constraints for different mouth shapes. I could just use shape keys, but then the bones stay in place and I want them to move while still being manually adjustable. I made a couple more mouth shapes such as yeah, that is totally A right there. O, A, and wide. And then put action constraints on all of the bones. And as you can see, I've also added some extra control points. Now the next part, getting all of the action constraints to work. This was probably the most painful rigging experience I've had in a while, because I don't rig often, and you can probably tell why. So the problem was that the action constraint worked just fine on the x-axis, but didn't work on any of the others. I tried rearranging the order of constraints because the top ones are calculated first or whatever. I tried deleting and remaking the action. I tried clicking a random option to see what happens. I tried testing other actions, those worked fine, but this one doesn't. So maybe it's a problem with this specific action? That doesn't make sense though. And of course, Google is still no help! I tried adding an action constraint onto different bones, still no luck. I tried looking at the location, rotation, and scale values to see if I had somehow accidentally added a driver. Nope! Hours later, my brain was completely fried, and I was just looking for the timeline, hoping for any clue as to what's causing this. I clicked the drop down. Yep, everything was keyframed. All of these lines were here, so that means none of their values change. Wait, this one is different. What axis is that? Y? Wait a minute, hold up. You've got to be kidding me! Yeah, this entire time I never tried setting the axis to Y and then moving it up and down. I thought, okay, set this to Z and over on the gizmo Z is blue, so I pulled the blue one. Oh, wrong! That was Y apparently! Look at this, it took me 2 days! This took me 2 days! This is what using Blender does to your brain, haha. Alright, well, I'm freaking tired. Let's hope it gets easier from here. Well, y'all know the drill. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and also consider supporting me on Ko-fi if you want early access to new videos and models. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and see you in the next one, if I survive.